Greetings, friends. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha. Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Kalaye Sundarakaram Sadaika Priyadarshanam. Ajnana Nashakam Devam Sadgurum Muralidharam. Yasya Smaranamatrena Jikhvayam Vardate Swayam. Mahamantrastam bhajami Muralidhara deshikam Premamritam yo Murali ninadaihi Shri Krishna rupena puravarsha Adyapi soyam Muralidharakyo Pushnati premna bhuvanam saharsham Kirtite tu mahamantre tatra virbhuya tatshanam Suprasanno bhavedyastam Premika varadam bhaje Murali mandita karakamalam munijana mohanam Vyatyastapadam vanamala Prema bhakta mandala nitya kirtitam Premika varadam ashrayeham Nama sankirtanam yasya sarva papa pranashanam Pranamo dukkha shamanaha tam namami harim param Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Sadguru Nath Maharaj Ki Jai. It is a delight to join you all in yet another session of Answers and Beyond. It is by the grace of Guru Maharaj I've been blessed with this wonderful opportunity. Thank you, Singapore Namadwaar, for organizing this. And thank you all for taking the time to join in to this section of Answers and Beyond. The question that we will take today is from a friend in Singapore. And this is how the question goes. I wonder if I'm capable of attaining moksha in Kali Yuga, given that I'm carrying so much baggage of past karma. On top of that, I feel I keep piling up karma every single moment of every single day. And compared to that, I spend very little time for spirituality. Will it be enough to ensure that I get out of this cycle of births and deaths? A very practical question. And the question is, am I doing enough to get out of this cycle of births and deaths, given that I have only so much time available in this Yuga, in this time that I live in? I have so many things to do. On one side, I'm accumulating karma continuously. There's so much karma that I'm already carrying from my previous janmas. How do I get rid of all of this? Because the practice that I do seems to be rather insufficient. I don't have so much time or resources at my disposal. Will I qualify to attain liberation in this Kali Yuga? Beautiful question, a very practical question. And such a question comes to our mind only when we give a serious thought about all of this, about attaining liberation. So that is something that we need to appreciate right away. Many a time when we read books on spirituality, on philosophies, when we listen to lectures, people like myself get carried away by the fantastic terminologies that are used. I use it like I use any other word. And I say that yes, the purpose of life is to attain moksha, to get liberated from the cycle of births and deaths. Yeah, that is the purpose and we need to attain it. I keep saying it like how a parrot would. But if I sit and actually give it a serious thought, that is when it really gets mind-boggling. Honestly, it even brings our spirits down. It makes us wonder, is this even going to happen? Is this a fight worth attempting at all? That is a question that comes to our mind when we sit and think about it seriously. Because on one side it is said that you wipe out this account of karma, that's it, and that is moksha, that is liberation. Like it's as simple as taking an eraser and rubbing something out from the piece of paper that we have scribbled with a pencil. Even that is not easy. There would still be a remnant mark here and there, an impression on the paper. But it sounds that simple when I look at it very superficially, giving it no serious thought. But when I sit and contemplate, on one side, it talks about thousands of births that I have taken before this, and the baggage of karma that I have accumulated, the pluses and minuses, which has eventually led me to be born today, here, in this situation. And then, every single moment that I live, that I exist, that I do anything, that I even move a finger or say a word, I'm going to keep adding more karma, more karma, more karma. It's not as if I can put that on a pause mode. There's no pause or still button there. Can't do it. It's continuously adding. On one side, I'm struggling to wipe out what I already have accumulated. On the other side, I'm accumulating more. And then it is said that because of this, I have to take another janma, another birth. And then I will accumulate more karma. I will take another birth. This seems like an endless run from a commoner point of view. Because I know for a fact, I speak for myself, that I will not be able to perform that sort of a penance that the great ones were able to do and just burn away all the karma with that fire of penance. It's not possible, not happening for me. Otherwise, I would not be born now in this situation. That is possible for a great Mahatma, a Rishi, a sage. But what about me? So that option, I can safely say for myself, it is not going to happen. Not by my own personal tapas, it's not going to happen. Not in this age, not in 2020. In the situation that I live in, not working. So this seems like trying to chase my shadow and catch hold of it. It seems like an impossible deal. So I wonder, should I even think about this? Is it going to happen? Great Mahatmas who have had that direct experience with God have written and have said that if somebody tells you that realizing God, that ultimate experience, is something that will just happen like that, they really are not telling you the whole truth. Mahatma writes, because for every step that I climbed upward, I found myself sliding 10 steps down. And that process was even quicker. I go one step up, come 10 steps down. This is how it was going. It is not easy. It was a struggle, says a Mahatma. I'm not sure if you've seen this. There'll be these rivers, and kids in the villages would enjoy playing in the rivers. What would happen is they would be standing on the ground, and then they would jump into the water, and they would really swim hard. If you look at them carefully, really swim hard. After several seconds or maybe a minute or two, when they stop, they will find themselves at least 50 feet behind the point where they started. They would have not gone in the forward direction, but they would find themselves behind. And then they would swim hard again and go another 50 feet behind. Why is it happening? It's because they're trying to swim upstream. Try doing it, you'll know what I'm talking about. I've tried it and experienced it myself. It'll feel like I'm putting so much of effort and I'm like swimming like an Olympic swimming champion. And then when I stop and see, I would find myself many meters behind where I started. Not even in the same spot. Even if I stood on the ground, I would still be in the same spot. But that's not how it is. It's like I'm going behind and behind, much like how it's happening in the context of Janma and life itself. Every time I feel I make some progress, it definitely feels also like I've come 10 steps behind. Even Mahatmas have said so, then what about someone like myself? So, what is the answer to this question? The simple answer to this question, I'm quoting our scriptures, Mahatmas and Swamiji, when I say this is, yes, indeed, we will all attain moksha, we will all attain God realization in Kali Yuga. Yes, an affirmative, strong yes is what they've all said. Guru Maharaj would say, God did not bring us this far to push us down from the last step. He wants every one of us to attain. The entire universe is in existence only for that. The very purpose of my birth is only for that. It is my birthright in that sense to attain moksha, to attain God realization. That is why all of this is functioning. In a lighter note, Swamiji would say that till the last jiva, the last person, the last life form attains, this whole big circus of creation has to happen. God has to run the show. So by not attaining, it's his job that becomes more difficult, not even yours, he would say. So he will make sure that you attain. It's in his own interest, he will make sure that you attain, and he is not one who wants to push us down from that step. Never. So we will attain. On one side, when we read about this Yuga, Kali Yuga, Srimad Bhagavatam, it says, Prayenal payusha sabya kala asmin yuge jana manda sumanda matayo manda bhagya hipadruta. Sometimes I'm talking about people like myself who are just reading this without entirely understanding the meaning of it. In some situations, it is good. Ignorance is bliss, as they say. Because when I am explained what all of this means, it only brings my spirits down. On one side, when I read it, I feel glorious. I feel very happy that I'm able to read all of this beautiful shlokas. But when I understand the meaning, it says that in Kali Yuga, these times, referring directly to people like myself, it says that you would not live that long. Lifespans would be rather short. But then I wonder, people live for 100 years and more. How is that short? Scriptures say, compared to the previous yugas, it is short. They've lived for thousands of years. So much so that I find it even hard to believe. I think these are all stories. But that's how it is. Ramayana has said so. Our scriptures, Shastras have said so. It says you will live short. You would not have that sort of a bhagyam. You would not have that sort of sharpness of the intellect. Generally, everything about you would be slow, is really what that shloka is telling me. And when I understand the meaning, it makes me feel rather low. So what is the way out? Exactly the question. If this is how it's going to be, should I even talk about such things? Should I even attempt, or just lead life as it is and be happy as a fool that I am, and not even think about all of this and feel low? Because it's not something that I will ever be able to attain. The great ones, the sadhus, who are able to journey along this path, climb the stairs and reach the goal, I bow down to them. but I don't see myself there. Is that the conclusion that I should come when I hear about all of this? Would scriptures ever say something like that and leave me in a state of hopelessness? Never. Because they know that this is my capability. This is how much I can do, I can perform. After all, I've been placed in the situation by Him. So He knows. He knows my shortcomings. He knows my strengths. He knows my weaknesses. He knows my limitations all too well, even better than how much I know about myself. There is a way out, because it is the same scriptures that say all these things about a person like myself in Kali Yuga, that also says Kali Sadhu. This Yuga is in fact the best time to be. How can that be? On one side you're saying that you're generally slow, your lifespan is short, you don't have that sort of a capability to perform penance. On the other hand, you say that this is one of the best times to be. Kali Sadhu. It is advantageous. How can that be? Seems like opposites. How? I will tell you how. Guru Maharaj would very beautifully explain. He would say that in this world, when we attempt anything, let's say that I want to run a marathon, a full marathon. I train hard. I eat the right kind of stuff. I work really hard at myself for several months, and then I run the marathon. Age is on my side. I've practiced well and I'm fit. Naturally, I will be able to complete the marathon in good time, maybe even win a prize there. I will reach the finish line because my capability here is good. My strength is good. But let's look at an opposite picture. Let's say I've not trained at all. I put on a lot of weight. Never once have I even walked that far. And then one fine day, I decide that I'm going to run a marathon. What will happen? I may pass out right in the middle. I may not even reach the finish line. Why? Because my capability, my training, my fitness is at an all-time low. So when the capability decreases, the chance of even reaching the finish line is close to zero. It's not going to happen. It's when I'm more capable, I will be able to reach the finish line. Less capable, no way. Put that in context with us in general and the yugas. It said, in the previous yugas, the people lived longer, they were more capable, they had better control over their sense organs, they had sharper intellect, their focus on the goal was immense, they had such devotion, and not surprisingly, they were able to reach that goal, that God realization, that self-realization. But if I look at myself, it's just the opposite. I don't have that sort of a capability. I cannot perform that kind of penance. I don't have that sort of control over sense organs. It's not like I can spend so much time to spiritual practices. It's not possible. This life will not permit that. It's not my fault. It's the age that we live in. We all know that. Every single morning, it's a struggle to get out of home and reach office or reach school on time. And then I have to do so many things. And then I have to get back late in the evening. There's still so many other things that I have to attend to with the society, with the family. And that's how my life is going to go. It's not as if I have, say, 100 years or 200 years, 500 years at my disposal to just sit and do penance, sit in a forest and do penance like how we hear in the Puranas and Itihasas. It's not going to happen. This age will not permit that. So I'm rather less prepared, less capable. So what are the odds that I will also reach the finish line? It's almost impossible, isn't it? If you go by the previous marathon example, it's not happening. But Swamiji would say it will happen. Because in this equation, there's one factor that you're missing. And the name of that factor is Kripa, compassion of God. You add that factor to this equation, your capability will not matter. It will make sure that you reach the finish line. God wants to ensure that I reach the finish line. So He pours His compassion upon me, realizing fully well that this is what I'm capable of. This is what these times will allow me to do. So when we add that into this equation, the finish line is right there, well within the reach. And He will ensure that we get there by all means. That is why it is said, Dhyayan krite yajan yajnaihi tretayam dwapare archayan yatapnoti tatapnoti kalau sankirtya keshavam. That highest that could be attained by that sort of penance, that sort of meditation, that sort of worship, that sort of upasana, that sort of elaborate rituals in previous yugas can very easily be attained in this age, Kali Yuga, by simply chanting the names of God. He gives this option. Why? Out of compassion. Because that is really what I am capable of. And God knows that all too well. So He gives me this option. So indeed, friend, it is possible. We will all attain, and all we have to do is chant the names of God and leave the ball in His court. It's His word. It's His compassion. It will work. I'm reminded of this tiny little incident that happened once, many years ago. Sri Swamiji was traveling. It was in the southern parts of Tamil Nadu. And there's a devotee in those area who would regularly have darshan of Swamiji. Swamiji was quite fond of him. And when Swamiji goes to any town, there would be satsangs for 2-3 days or a week sometimes. And usually during the evening satsangs, there'll be a huge gathering, as you can imagine. There'll be hundreds of people or a few thousand sometimes. And you'll be amazed how he actually manages to observe every single person that has come there. Because many a time when you have not gone on that particular day, when he sees you later on, he would actually ask you, I didn't see you yesterday. On one side, the devotee would feel immensely happy because Guru Maharaj actually noticed that I was absent. In that crowd of 2,000 people, he still noticed. That's the feeling that the devotee would be left with. It's a very nice feeling in that sense. So this devotee came very early on the second day in the morning to see Swamiji privately where Swamiji was staying. The moment Swamiji saw him, he wore a beautiful smile. It was like a flower that blossomed. It's beautiful. And he asked, I didn't see you yesterday. You didn't come, right? The devotee was in tears when he heard that. He offered his pranams. And he said, yes, Guru Maharaj, I did not come. Why did you not come? You usually come for all the satsangs. Were you not in town? No, I was very much here. I did not come. Why? Because when I sit there and listen to your discourses, when I listen to the satsang, which I've been doing for some time now, my life does not change. I have not changed in a big way. It's almost like when I listen to you, I feel all pure and noble and I'm very driven. But once I get away from that, it's the same old personality that I've always been. And when I hear you say something the next time, it feels really like everything is pointed at me. I feel like it's a nice slap on my cheek. It really pricks me. It's a very painful experience to be in my position and listen to all of it. So I thought I better avoid the situation because I'm not changing any way. But I cannot be without seeing you, having your darshan. So I told myself that I come and see you privately and then go away from here. That is why I've come today. I'm a sinner, Swami. I'm a sinner. I've committed so many sins in my life. Things that I cannot even tell you about. And I feel that I am a misfit here. I don't think I deserve to come and sit there and listen to your satsangs and chant Nama with you. This is what that Bhakta said. Very honestly, very sincerely. Swamiji had a nice smile. So you are saying that you are a sinner, aren't you? That's how you feel about yourself. Let me tell you one thing. In that case, if that is how you look at yourself, you are the one that deserves to come and sit in the front row of every satsang and chant Nama. You deserve that seat. I will tell you why. Swamiji said, I will tell you a small story that happened. There were two friends. Both wanted to borrow loans from the bank in order to start their own businesses. The requirement was only about 10 lakhs for each one of them. But it so happened that they got sanctioned 1 crore rupees. The first friend, a more sensible one, said that I need only 10 lakhs. So I'm not going to avail the 1 crore, which is 10 times of that. I'm not going to do that because it will be difficult for me to repay. It will be easy for me to get the money today, but it will be difficult to repay, so I'm not going to take that. The other friend said, when the bank is willing to give, what's your problem? Why don't you avail the entire thing? I'm going to avail the entire 1 crore. I will think about the repayment later. And he availed the 1 crore. And this friend availed only 10 lakhs. Naturally, when it's time to repay, our friend realized how difficult it is. He was feeling the pressure. But then the winds were in his favor. It so happened that elections were declared in that part of the world at that time. And it so happened that a lot of gifts and bonanzas were announced at that time. And one of the gifts that was announced is that these loans would be waived. Just like that, waived the entire amount if you are able to repay. Swamiji smiled and asked, it's only a story, but on that day when the news about the loans being waived came out, who do you think was smiling a lot? Was it the first one or the next one? The first fellow said, oh my God, I should have listened to you, I should have taken the whole amount. I could have kept it because the government is willing to waive everything. It's the same case here. Bhagavan says in Kali Yuga, does not matter what sin you have committed. Any sin, Nama Sankirtanam, yes, Sarva Papa Pranashanam, not this sin or that sin, Sarva Papa, all sins. Nama will wipe out all the sins, everything waived. So you're the one that needs to come and sit right up front and chant Nama, and Kali is Sadhu. All that Bhagavan requires us is to chant the name, and he is willing to wipe all the karma and bestow us his holy feet. Thank you so much. Thank you for your patience. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Sadguru Nath Maharaj ki Jai. Thank you very much.